Oh, we are so back. It is Deep Look. It is Tuesday, December 2nd at noon Eastern, where we show up every week live, most of the time live. Been off for a couple of weeks here with WBUC, the Beach World Championships, and Thanksgiving week. Always a little bit of a slow time for everybody, and it should be that way. Keith Raynor and Charlie Eisenhood with you. Thank you for being here, Keith. I have some breaking news. The Dig Pac-Man footage was released on YouTube and then promptly made private. So the Dig Pac-Man footage, this has become a meme in the Ulti-Roll Discord because everybody wants to see this game. The footage exists. It was then put onto YouTube and now blocked. Like, what is going on here? What's going on here?
Does it exist?
It's like what is going on? What's his name? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I think this is Brian Windhorst. I think this is like this is like a myth. It's like Nessie or Bigfoot. Like it supposedly exists, but like does it really? How do we know it's not? How do we know it's not AI generated? You know what I mean? Like Nano Banana Pro or whatever is out. So anything's possible.
Well, Keith, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We haven't really had a chance to catch up since I've been back from Beach Worlds in Portugal. So I was out on vacation until Monday. So how are you?
I mean, I'm doing well. You're the one who's been out on adventures. I was just holding it down over here, hanging out with club champions and Edward Stevens too. But did you have a good trip? Did you enjoy? Was it an exciting tournament? Did anything crazy happen? And you tell me.
No, it was, pretty standard stuff over there. Just normal beatdowns. We will of course get into all the Beach World stuff. No, but Portugal is great. It was my first time there. It's cool because I've been to Spain a few times, and you can see that, like, the food, for instance, has some of the influences of what you might see from Spain. I mean, I don't know whether to call it influencers or not, like which food came first. I don't know. But so much seafood, very, very fresh flavors, and like less bread than Spain. I feel like Portuguese food is better than Spanish food, even though Spanish food is probably more famous because of tapas.
It's funny how much of Americans' understanding of global food cuisine is like totally based on what is available in the mall shopping center. I guess now it's like the airport, or our local cuisine is definitely influenced by what is being imported here, not necessarily what's the best. But I digress. The food channel in Discord has been popping off. Charlie has not been up in there, but Thanksgiving was a very popular time for the food Discord channel. So make sure if you're into good eats, if you're in our Discord, get in there.
All right, well, let's get into the show. First things first, we've got some new inductees to the Hall of Fame, Keith. The 2025 class has been announced. 12 new members inducted this year. There's the list. Let me start with the contributor category. Robin Davis, Alex Dutchy Gesquier, and Maddie Sang all in for coaching.
You
couldn't pick an easier list of Hall of Fame coaches, right? Like, these are GOAT level coaches across Ultimate Frisbee. I mean, there's not even that many other people that come to mind who have already like established a Hall of Fame level career as a coach besides these three.
No, I mean, I'm disappointed to not get in this year, but I'll keep plugging away, see what I can do. This is basically the triumvirate as Ulti-World was coming up. Like these are the coaches I feel like people were talking about the most, and with they've done so much in their storied careers. So exciting to see them get their flowers here.
In the mixed division, Michael Ferris is the only player inducted. Mixed is just getting started for adding players to the Hall of Fame. In the open/men's division, John Hassel and Kurt Gibson get in this year. Pretty much total locks. I don't know when these players were first considered for getting in. I mean, you could have probably put both of those players in 5 years ago if you wanted to. In the women's division, Carolyn Finney, Cree Howard, Georgia Schreiwise, formerly Georgia Boscher, Kayla Helton, and Sandy Jorgensen get inducted. Once again, Keith,
is there something
you'll
about those
notice
players that
sound a little familiar. Like we still talk about them because they're still playing on Fury and on Flipside and on U.S. national teams. I let me just say, I don't really have a problem with any single player getting in. These are all legends. They are all Hall of Fame players. That it is not like somebody got in questionably here. But Keith, why are we inducting players who are still active elite club players into the Hall of Fame, which is a post-career honor? I don't get it. I continue not to get it. I'm going to complain about it every year until they stop doing it. Just make a rule. Just make a rule. You have to be out of like club nationals for
this
X
is
number of
the
years
rub.
or something. Just make a rule, and then those players become eligible, and you can put them in.
That's the rub, right? Is what's the rule? Because in ultimate, it's more fuzzy than it is in major professional sports, where when your retirement is official, nobody unretires generally. There's like a handful of examples, but you're not on a roster. You're not getting compensated by the league. You're not a part of the Players Association or whatever. Here, I'm pretty confident if Sandy Jorgensen wanted to strap him up, she could play on a club nationals team probably tomorrow. So I don't know exactly how you draw that line. What if you're still playing, but you're on like a regional level team and you're player coaching, or you're like the veteran leader?
Why are you whatabouting this? It's really easy. Just say you're not eligible unless you haven't been to club nationals for at least 5 years. That's it. And if somebody takes 3 years off and they come back and they go to club nationals again, okay, it resets their clock. I mean, I just don't see the problem.
You have a clear rule here.
I want a rule. I agree. You could use an age-based rule if you wanted to, because that would also mostly work. Make it 40, and then also have a club nationals, rule of some kind. But I don't like the optics of having literally, like, Kayla Helton is literally still like a top 10 player in the country. Why is she getting into the Hall of Fame now? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, this is something that's supposed to be an honor after your career. And no, I'm not saying she shouldn't get in. She should just get in 10 years, not now.
Just wait.
Like,
we're the parents. Just tell you to just wait. Look, I know it's hard.
Put it. I wouldn't even complain that much if you put in Cree, Georgia, and Sandy, because they're basically all retired. Now, maybe I would still like to see a couple more years, but Kayla and Carolyn shouldn't be getting in yet.
I think a secondary thing is like how many Furies from this dominant run that they had, how many Furies can we fit in the Hall of Fame? This actually happens in other sports too, where it's like, okay, I have a lot of team honors because I was on the best team, and like not questioning any of these players, for the record. All of these Fury players fully deserve to get in, full stop. But somewhere down there is a line where it's like, okay, you won 7 national titles or whatnot, but like, should you be in the Hall of Fame?
It's fair. I think it's not enough to just be on a good team. Obviously, it probably increases your opportunity to get in if you have 8 rings as like a role player on a championship team, but you're not actually going to get in unless you're a top 3 or 4 player on the team.
Yeah, I mean, these are players who like are this is not a problem we've run into yet. These are players who like go on people's Mount Rushmores. So
correct.
No questions here.
Let's keep it moving. A little bit of UFA news. The Colorado Summit. We already knew they were going to get renamed. They have been renamed. They are now the Colorado Apex. There's the logo. It's we got a purple and what do you want to call this? Orange? Purple and orange circle with kind of like a mountain logo and then a bear shape in the middle of it, and I'm a
That's a bear
little
shape?
apparently,
That's a bear?
apparently, apparently it's a bear. I mean, you can see that it's a bear if you know it's a bear,
Apparently.
but if you don't know it's a bear, you maybe are like, "What is happening here?" I really like the font and the apex word and like the mountain styling of the A in apex, but I don't love and I honestly like the mountains. I do not love the bear. The bear is bad.
Yeah, gotta drop.
This is like a first draft that they should have kept going with a little bit.
Yeah, I fully agree that the bear is the worst element. I don't dislike the name. It's fine. It's not incredible. I also like the A mountain styling. I think that's good. That's gonna play well. I like the sunset color scheme. It's like a little played out, but it should look good in gear. But yeah, the bear feels out of place and unrecognizable. And it's they still have time to remove that. Someone said
People are
someone in
noting
the
in
chat
the
says it looks
chat that
like
it looks like the Titanic sinking, like the bear shape is the Titanic sinking into the ocean, hitting the iceberg. Oh no.
oh, well, this was
I'm
worth
never
it.
gonna
This
unsee
is
that.
totally worth it to talk about this on the
Someone
show
needs
then.
to just like uh Photoshop in Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio like on the side, really small. Um Wild. So let's see. Keith, let's talk more about the name specifically. Are you good with Apex?
I mean,
I mean, they really kept it with the summit concept here.
right. They stayed with the theme, which is as it was discussed in our Discord, kind of plays across all sorts of different sports teams in the state and in the area, the Colorado Rockies and whatnot. This mountain theme. So I appreciate that it sticks there while still sounding a bit unique. It's like kind of a generic thing, and it has the double meaning of both being the apex of the mountain and like trying to get to the top of competition. So like all in all, I'd give it a B. It's not like they smashed it out of the park, but I'm told the totally acceptable name, has a perfectly reasonable tie-in. So like I'm not gonna be mad about it.
Uh, Other news that literally just dropped minutes before the show started.
They've
The
removed the
Indy
bear.
Alley Cats. No, we'll see what happens with that. The Indy Alley Cats are signing James Pollard and Nate Little for 2026. I did not have that on my bingo card, Keith.
Yeah, bolstering the defense. I think that I saw that they announced Xavier Payne was coming back.
I saw
So
that, yes.
so the Indy spicing it up could get interesting over there.
I mean, it could,
Maybe they
right?
can pick up some. Can they pick up some mechanics?
I don't
Mac
see why
Hecht
not.
coming
There
to
are a
Indy.
couple like Indy's only a few pieces away from at least making things interesting in the Central, right? Especially if Chicago takes a big step back, which I don't know. It's hard to say what's going to happen there, but I think it's more likely than not that the Union don't look anything like last year. So curious, curious. Um, all right. I we're still live on the air, which is great, but our producer's computer and home internet has frozen. So Keith, we're on our own for the moment.
Oh,
So before we get into the trivia question of the week, um, let me just let's start talking a little bit about WBUC.
oh, that's too bad. I was
I
gonna
want.
ask you to acapella the trivia theme music for me.
I mean, I guess we could just go ahead and do it, right?
Dude, we can do WBC and come back.
I feel like both things require us to have, you know, things on the screen, but it's actually easier to do trivia question of the week
Okay.
first. So it's time for our trivia question of the week. You can all hear the jingle.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Show's getting off the rails. I love it. We are so back. We are so back. So this week's trivia question of the week, Charlie. We're running it back to some guess the player. I feel like it's been a while since we dusted off the guess the player. So Charlie, Are you ready to get started with Guess the Player? I'm going to give you your first 3 hints. You could start thinking about it. Look at the chat, and I'll tell you about our friends over at Breakmark. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. This player has played their entire career, as far as I know, in the Southwest region.
Okay.
They've won titles with multiple club teams and have represented Team USA multiple times. Those are your 3 hints. Entire career in the Southwest, titles with multiple club teams, multiple time Team USA representative. So
Okay.
everybody think on that a little bit. Tell you about our friends over at Breakmark. If you need to stock your team or upgrade your gear, you need to check out Breakmark. They offer great gear bundles that save you money. Be sure to follow them on Instagram. They're celebrating their 20th anniversary, so they've been giving away free stuff on Instagram every week. They're also adding awesome new products like their sleeveless hoodie or the crop tops, tights. They got all sorts of stuff to get you covered. Plus, they dropped the price of their core sublimated items from $60 down to just $35. That price is locked in only through the end of the year. So clock's ticking. Make sure to go over to breakmark.com and check them out. Charlie, got any ideas, or you think you might need another hint?
No, I don't want a hint yet because it's a pretty big hint that they've played their entire career in the Southwest. Um, because I'm thinking about like how many teams have won in the Southwest. So obviously Revolver and Fury, but the last mixed team to win from the Southwest is Blackbird 2012, maybe. So then I'm like, who the hell has played on that team? Well, okay, it was Southwest, multiple club teams, multiple Team USA selections. Um, this is like maybe a kind of too deep of a cut, but I'm gonna guess Mac Taylor.
Mac Taylor, our first guess, and I think he would qualify based on the hints that you have, but it is not Mac Taylor. So why don't I give you your next hint?
Okay, I mean, I that he does qualify, right?
I do think he meets the
But
threshold
like
for
he
the 3
hasn't
things
played
that
on a
we've laid
USA
out.
team for like almost 10 years. So, okay, continue.
All right, this person is a 3-time all-club selection. I'm wondering. I'm going to look right now to see if that applies to Mac Taylor as well.
No, he predated our. Well,
No,
I
he
guess he could have.
3-time all-club and mixed. So it actually
Wow,
Mac Taylor
wow.
still fits so far, but it is again not Mac Taylor. Um, Josh Ackley mentions that Mac also played with Bravo, switches outside of the
Oh,
Southwest.
that's
So
true. That's true.
yeah, uh, this person's also a World Games gold medalist among their
But
Team USA
who the hell was
representations.
on the
Which
Blackbird
could
roster
still
in
be Mac
2012?
Taylor, right?
'Cause that's what I got to be looking for here. I feel like, but I don't even know if I can find a 2012 Blackbird roster or have any
Yeah,
recollection of
imagine.
who was on the team all the way back then. Like it's probably like somebody who was in college and they played Blackbird before they went on to play for either Revolver or Fury. But I have no. But now, I mean, obviously, World Games is a big hint. Um,
Yes.
so, jeez. Uh, Cree Howard, maybe.
Fair guess, I think. Um, but it's not Curry. Are you ready for your next hint, or you got another guess?
No, no. Let me get one more guess.
All right.
Uh,
I think the next hints are gonna start to give it away. So
um, I no, I don't know. I'm lost.
all right, this person has an animal nickname.
An animal nickname. I feel like I got to get it now.
Yeah, now it's gotta be right there. I've got more hints if you need me to narrow
No, hang
the
on. Give me a
aperture
second.
here.
Give me a second. I'm trying to think of animal nickname players, period. Because there's not that. I mean, how many people could it be? Oh, it's got to be Mad Dog Nazarov.
Producer Sue, I know you're not here, but go ahead and ding him. It is Mad Dog, Anna
I think she's
Nazarov.
back.
Yeah, that is
I'm
right.
not
She
sure.
was on Blackbird, not in 2012, I think, but 2011. 2012, I think she moved over to
Okay.
Fury. But 2011, when they didn't win a title, they went back to back.
They won back to back.
So it is in
That's a
fact
deep cut.
Mad Dog.
I have no memory of her being on a mixed team.
Well, I think that the hints would have been a little too obvious, so I had to kind of mislead you with the club titles thing to see if I could to give you a challenge. 2 teams, club titles, but she's got them with both.
That's awesome. Great trivia question this week. Let's go ahead and dig into Beach Worlds. I want to save our women's discussion for when we actually have a producer back, because right now we're just rolling the two of us. I don't know how our screen changed, because we were looking at a graphic and now we're not. So I'm not sure what's going on. But for now, we're on our own, Keith. We're on our own. So where do you want to start? You want to talk men's? You want to talk mixed?
Sure.
There's big stories in every division. Men's probably the least interesting overall, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely some upsets earlier in the bracket, right, in men's. But once we came down to the finals, it was mostly the teams you expected. I think your GB mileage may vary. Some people might have been expecting a Canada or a Germany or maybe Italy or Spain to pop up there. But mostly what you'd expect: France and Belgium on one side, the US on the other.
Yeah, I was impressed with what we saw from Belgium. I thought, if they hadn't had such a disaster start to the final,
how many times have you said that?
Could have hung in there. I mean, I know, but they had.
I don't know how many
brutal.
The fact
turnovers.
that it's multiple,
They
it's
had
not
the
that many
goal line
times.
Drop. That just some really tough misses. Just like a few things that just didn't quite go their way. They feel to me like a kind of like overall as a national team program, I feel like they're going to win something against the US at some point. They just have so much talent. Now, I think they need DeCrana. They need the full complement of players. They need the Toba of the DeCranas.
They need the Toba of the DeCranas, not just a
of the
DeCrana.
DeCranas.
They got that.
But I was talking to somebody at Beach Worlds, and there's 3 DeCrana brothers, and I guess the youngest is coming up, and apparently he could end up being the best of them. Like he's like leveled up huge in the last couple of years. So stay tuned for more DeCranas killing the game.
Let me tell you that Michael Ing once told me that about Henry Ing, and so he was right there. But I also remember Giannis Antetokounmpo saying that about his younger brother Alex Antetokounmpo, and you've never heard of him since, have you? So you never know how these things are going to play out.
Max says, "Wow, dodging the big topic." Max, trust me, we're not dodging the big topic. We just have a massive video package that we want to play out and talk about in order to discuss it. So we'll wait on that as we try to get things back sorted with the internet gremlins. But anyway, I think, they're still kind of like learning how to play up in the big spots. And the France-Belgium semi was amazing. An incredible game. Incredible like playmaking ability from some of the big stars in Europe. And the US really got pushed, I thought. They were great the whole week, and they clearly prepared well. I was watching Rowan's vlogs about the tournament, which I would highly recommend you watch if you haven't seen them. And they were practicing like multiple days after games. So like practicing leading up, they were practicing after they played games, and really focusing on, having a game plan for every single team that they faced. And they got pushed, right? France almost beat them. And Belgium, got that game back to interesting at least. So it was Coach Brian Jones told me after the tournament it was the hardest it's ever been to win Beach Worlds, and thinks that the world is truly catching up, and there's more specialization and beach play happening in Europe, and that I think is getting those countries to a better spot compared to the United States, where we really just play beach only for fun in the winter.
And it's a small sided game, which is gonna make it so you need less total depth. Maybe that's not entirely true on the sand, but obviously you need less than you do to play like a regular tournament on grass, sevens. I think if there were like some fours world championship, like the US would be in contention, but I don't necessarily think we would even be like a clear favorite because other countries have enough depth to field a talented group of four to go on the field. So when we're making the field smaller like this, I actually think it makes for more compelling ultimate. It's part of what makes the world game so good, and it's sad that it seems pretty unlikely that we're going to see this Belgian contingent get to compete in that format. But we are getting chances to watch their open side, but up against the U.S. repeatedly, whether it's in U24s or at World Ultimate Championships or with the Mooncatchers. So we're getting treated to a pretty good foil to the U.S.
I mean, yeah, it feels like Mooncatchers is going to be a totally viable candidate to win WUCC next summer in Ireland. And I feel like you look at this core and they have at least 5 more years of being really good. And I think they have some of the most exciting players on earth right now. I mean, Don Desmarais is living up to the hype over and over again. I know he had some mistakes in that final, but then he also just made some unbelievable plays to get them back into that game. Like that spinning, like almost blind block on the away, like back shoulder shot was unbelievable.
Did you see his player of the year reaction clip from pod practice?
I didn't. I heard that he found out on the show, but I did not
This is
see the reaction.
it's funny because on their show they're talking about how it's Inception that they were showing part of our podcast, reacting to our podcast on their podcast. Now our podcast is reacting to them reacting to our podcast. But he said something along the lines of like, it's a lot of pressure winning it because people expect you to just. It said something like, "I can't make your dreams come true like every time," but he does keep kind of doing it, right? He comes out
Yeah,
and you're like,
no.
yeah, he lives up to the hype again. He did it again. He's at the point where my wife knows who he is. Like she's that's Don, right? The Belgian guy.
I I uh I just feel like there's no question that he's the best player on earth right now. There's
It
zero
seems
question.
to be
I
consensus.
I I feel like it is truly consensus and deservedly so. Um, so yeah, elsewhere, I thought that really Belgium, France, and the U.S. looked like a class of their own, and other teams there were just not quite at that level. I'm probably disparaging like GB who made semis. They were good. They just felt old. I mean, the GB, they got to find some better young players to come up and start taking over because they're going to slowly fade from international relevance if they don't do that. Like I still feel like their best players are all like 33 plus. Um so they're good. I think GB stays relevant for a while. I think Clapham stays relevant for a while, but they're going to increasingly become less relevant unless they can find that next generation of 23 to 27-year-olds to start coming up and like being their best players.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see if they can maintain. I mean, I think watching for how Clapham's status is a good marker as well as the U24 scene for GB because it might only take a couple of players to really turn things around for them. But obviously they're in a good spot right now. Like they did well at this tournament. I don't want to bemoan them just because they're a step behind kind of generational classes for France and Belgium. They had a really strong showing. Certainly better than I expected from them. They did not look like pushovers against the U.S. by any means. Even if I agree with you that I think they seem like they're a tier below the other 3 semifinalists.
Any other thoughts on the men's side of beach, Keith?
No, I mean, it seems like the U.S. men's team, like you mentioned, Brian Jones and Mario O'Brien helping BJ coach. Seems like they did a really good job. I thought the Rowan's vlog was pretty complimentary and demonstrated the strategy that they brought forth, and I think that played out pretty well for the U.S.
Yeah,
How about
absolutely.
Raekwon Atkins like being one of
Thank
the
you.
maybe the best player on the team?
I mean, I think he's got a claim to being. I mean, 1A, 1B with Don as the best player of the division. I mean,
Crazy,
he was
right?
unbelievable.
Yeah,
I think the
I think
question that
we're
I
going to be
have
talking a
coming out of
lot more
this,
about him after this past
like, is
6 months.
yeah, he specifically has played a lot of beach and was clearly the best player on the U.S. team playing on the beach. The question I have is like, are we seeing the signs of a next superstar? I mean, Rowan implied that in his video. He's like, I watched Boxley come up as the next generation, and now I'm seeing the next generation with Raekwon. And Rowan was the oldest player on the team. Like, this is going to be one of his last hurrahs, probably. Um, but yeah, no, Raekwon was unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, and he had an awesome club season. I think he had been when you're looking at the college scene, he'd been considered, maybe a tier below the likes of Tobias Brooks and Micah Glass, but people might need to reconsider that and start thinking about him as being, one of the clear like 10 best players in college men's competition.
Going to be very interesting to see like where he fits into that team, and like, is he truly the focal point? It seems possible. Uh, should be really exciting. The 12 Days of College Ultimate is coming up very soon. Um,
Yes.
all right, let's go to mixed. Keith, this was an abject U.S. disaster.
Mm.
Abject disaster. Look at this bracket. USA loses in the quarterfinals of a world tournament for the literal first time ever.
I can't even
It has
find
never
them.
happened.
Yeah, I usually
It
just
has
look all the way to the right,
never
and there they are.
happened. Never before happened. Now, yeah, Germany went on to win gold. So say what you will about that. Like, Germany was a great team. The U.S. lost to a really good team. Uh, it's not like they lost to some team that they should have easily beaten. Like, you could argue that it was the de facto final. I think you could argue that. But to have it be the first time ever that a U.S. team does not reach at least the semifinals of an international tournament at any level is truly shocking. And I guess, like, what went wrong, Keith? What went wrong? Because this was not the first sign. It wasn't just like they played amazing and then they got to this Germany game and they lost. Like, they were they were down bad against Canada. So we'd already seen some signs of problems. And this is the same mixed team, by the way, that lost in semis 2 years ago.
Yeah, I wonder. It's you look at both the on field play, kind of like structure and coaching stuff, as like the individual player performances, how those things come together, and then you also think about team construction, which is is always weird to try and assess in this environment because you don't have a sense of what the other options were. Like all you see is the one that they ended up with. You don't really know necessarily what other players could have been in what spots for this roster. Um, certainly when you look at the team, it looks really talented. But the results ended up just not being there. That loss to Canada ended up really costing them, putting them in a spot where they had to play arguably the best team in early in the bracket. And they certainly had their chances to win that game against Canada, which they lost on Universe 12-11. They ended up losing to Canada again in consolation play for whatever that's worth. Um, also Germany played their part. They took a pair of losses prior to that. Pretty remarkable. They lost to that India team too. And then they got kind of spanked by Spain. So, Germany great in the bracket, but it wasn't like they were dominant throughout the tournament. I don't know. The U.S. team just didn't seem like they had it all together.
Definitely not. Um, and I think it's at least in part, you, you know, the actual roster construction itself. Like, they maybe needed some of the players that were on the single gender teams. But I think you have to really scrutinize like everything about the team. Like the coaching staff just didn't do good enough. The players in some spots like made big mistakes, made big errors. And I think it certainly did not help them that they had Harper Garvey get hurt before the tournament, who would have been amazing on the beach, I think. And then they lost Simon Higgins, who might have been their most important offensive player during the tournament. And they never quite got back right on offense after that. A lot of multi-turn points, a lot of problems taking care of the ball. I mean, they had some really good defensive moments for sure, but and I thought really strong individual play from Kayla Helton. But yeah, just not on the same page. Just like chemistry was bad. I have to say, I felt like the chemistry was bad.
Yeah, I mean, as much as Simon Higgins might have been valuable, I don't want to overlook Kelly Highland's 40 total goals and assists, which is a pretty towering
Stat leader
group over the team. Although I will say sometimes it did feel like she was taking some unwarranted shots as a thrower, but was
I mean, that's the thing. Like
overall was great, but
in that Germany game had some big errors.
Yeah,
but she was not alone. So crazy. You mentioned that India beat Germany. Incredible game. It's on. Is that game on YouTube? Yeah, we put it up on YouTube because it was such a good game after we streamed it. So you can go watch that. And India beat Czechia, Australia, and Germany, who ultimately finish 1-2-3. And so, like, it shows you kind of like when they were able to do that, they were super successful. I mean, I actually think that's why India beat them, because they like completely went dude ball against them, and it worked because that just was like a you didn't want to have to be throwing at their women. They're just too strong. But you know, Levka was amazing. I thought that Charlotta Shaw was amazing, and you know, they were just good all around. You know, Paul Harkins continues his extremely good 2025 season. So cool stuff.
Yeah, exciting for Germany. Obviously, you know, not only do they get, I've kind of talked about with Edward while you were gone. You know, would you rather beat USA or win gold? And Germany just double dip. Why? Porque no los dos? You know, I don't know how to say that in German. I can only count in German, but
I'm not going to help you on that one. Any other thoughts on mixed, Keith?
I mean, mixed chaos reigns supreme. You mentioned the up and down India. I mean, it was a pretty wild tournament. Like, if you want to go back and just kind of see upsets and follow that story, you know, Canada goes down in quarters as well to Czechia. You know, Spain beats France on Universe and then loses to Germany. Like, it was a pretty wild bracket. And even prior to the bracket, pretty crazy games. Italy goes down in pre-quarters. That was surprising.
Man. They honestly probably deserve more scorn than the U.S. That team was way too good to play as bad as they did. They were awful.
Yeah, not a good Italy showing across this tournament.
All right. Well, let's get to it, Keith. Let's get to it.
The U.S.
Women's division
wins again. Casual win.
So the big controversy from the weekend was this USA-France semifinal. Ultimately, a 12-11 win for the United States. It ended on Universe Point. It was extremely dramatic. And let's roll the tape and talk a little bit about what happened on this final point. And Keith, you know, set the stage for us with this USA-France game and what we'd seen so far.
These are two teams that I'd say are pretty familiar with each other. Like, there's a sense that this French team has been kind of challenging U.S. in a bunch of different stages. You know, we saw it at the World Games. We've seen it at World Ultimate Club Championships. We've seen it at World Championships as well. So we know that there's a kind of this is one of those circle the calendar games where there's both player familiarity and also like a real desire to be the team that
All right,
comes out on top. And France
here it is.
is just kind of holding the edge most of the way.
Here it is. So France gets the takeaway after some calls, and then they send it deep in a high stall count, and it appears that France has won the game. I mean, storming the field, they got the flag. Here's the drone view of it.
What a play.
So there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe generously you call it an 8-second stall count of real-time stalling, right? So ultimately, you can see like U.S. players are collapsed in the sand. Everyone thinks this game is over.
One set of waving hands.
Wait. It's not over. Okay. Send it back. Contested stall. Now, here's the thing. The call was about the T of 10. There was no fast count discussed. There's a look at the diving catch to what they believed was to win the game. You can see the sidelines are completely packed, Keith, completely packed. So it goes back, and there's a long discussion, and we don't have audio from this because this was on one of the all-access fields and not on the showcase field. And they agree to contest. It goes back to France. There was just basically they couldn't agree to whether it was T of 10 or not. So it's still stall 8. They look to the reset, not there. They send it deep, turnover, and the U.S. gets the disc back. And you can see how close it came. Just kind of whiffed it this time. Maybe thinking about the back line. So, Keith, U.S. goes the other way. Becky Malinowski doing her thing.
Maggie Rudin, who made the stall call, also gets the deep throw.
And they're waiting to figure out, who is she in? Is she, what is it? They call it good. Game over. So
boos rain down. Don't forget it. The crowd, immediate boos.
I mean, you see the player take off her jersey. She walks away. People are so mad. People are doing like stall count head taps, like for the entire finals. Like there was tons of this. People were booing the U.S. I mean, they were all. U.S. is always a little bit of a villain, Keith, but this was on another level. Just for some context here, France appealed this outcome. They went to WIFDF and they said, we think you should overturn this game. And WIFDF was actually prepared to let France win the game if the U.S. rescinded the call because the throw after that point was to literally walk off the game and win. So there's discussion between the teams and WIFDF. France was complaining about it being a fast count, but that was not discussed during the game. And so it was really the only point of relevance was, T of 10. And they couldn't come to an agreement about that. The U.S. was not willing to retract that they got the T of 10 off early or didn't get it off in time. And so the result stood, and the U.S. went on to easily defeat the Netherlands in the finals. Your thoughts?
Well, it's funny because I'm stuck on your phrasing of WIFDF was prepared to overturn, and I was like, well, really, WIFDF was prepared to let the U.S. overturn. They're like, sure, if they want to.
Fair.
And there has been, understandably, just a ton of conversation about this in follow up, and there's been posts on social media about it.
Oh man.
It's been a bit of a firestorm, which is
tagging players claiming they cheated. French players tagging U.S. players claiming they cheated.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a weird spot to be in because the call itself, by rule, is not right? Like it's not 10 seconds. It wasn't counted legally or whatever. But we're also all basically used to that amount of time taking place for there to be a stall call, and almost like very few of them inspire this conversation. Yes, I often say that stall is the most contested call in Ultimate. I stand by that, but we're all counting. Most people are counting 7 and 8 seconds for their stalls. So like this specific call, it's hard for me to get too worked up about it as like some egregious cheating. Uh, the fact that then you get into the whole like, okay, well, we appealed, we have it on video, we know this wasn't right. Are we arguing the right thing? Kind of conversation, and that feels kind of like a different component of it. So I want to give you a second to give your thoughts before we move on to the appeal.
All right. I am not a U.S. homer. Frankly, I often would prefer to see the U.S. lose games at international tournaments because it's much more exciting. It makes the international community feel like they have a chance. It's much more interesting. You know, when the U.S. just sweeps everything easily, like at U24s, it's just not that fun in the end. I like a story. So, and the U.S. winning can be a story, depending on how it goes. We certainly have that here. That said, the French are so wrong about the entire complaining and aftermath, bitching about this. Like, the fact that the call that fast count was not even discussed tells you that the stall count was perfectly within the realm of normal elite ultimate stall count, which we already know is around 7 to 8 seconds. It's why the UFA uses a 7-second stall count, because they basically looked at they clocked it in club, and they were like, okay, well, this is like about 7 seconds. So UFA refs count a real 7 instead of a fast 10 like we see in club. So that's not, you can't then go back and say, oh, well, by the stopwatch, you counted fast, we should win the game. No, that's not how this works. Now, I don't know about the T of 10 situation. It was clearly a very high stall count. It went back, and France got the disc back. This was not a turnover. They got the disc back at midfield, or maybe just past midfield, with a chance on Universe to win the game. They didn't hit the reset. They turned it over. They didn't get it back. I'm sorry. Like, that's how it goes. Now, I know it sucks to have you make a crazy catch that you think and you think you've won the game and have that taken away. Like, that feels worse than having it be a completion up the line for 10 yards that goes back. Nobody would be talking about it if it was that. It's specifically because it went to the end zone. But at the end of the day, this was not, in my mind, a particularly controversial call or play. Like, this is just a normal stall count. They got the disc back on a normal contest, and then they want to go and like rewrite the rules about what the stall count should be after the fact. So, and like tagging players and saying they're cheating and complaining about calls and stuff. Like, a lot of the stuff they're complaining about were legitimate fouls. Like, at the whiff diff level, if you run into somebody to try to make the play, that's a foul. Like, I may not agree that should be a foul, but it is in the whiff diff rules. So I feel like the vilification of the U.S. here has been totally overboard and uncalled for. Like, this was a normal stall out. And the reason that this wasn't some like cynical call is because when you're calling a stall, you're calling it immediately before you see the outcome of the play. It's not like a travel call where you kind of like wait and see what happens and then you like call a super cynical travel. So I just feel like the French blew their opportunity to win this game.
I agree with that. I mean, the U.S. didn't make them turn it over again and didn't make them give up a 3-throw score to lose the game, or any of the other things that happened otherwise in the game. I think I've always standed on that. I hate when people blame the calls instead of looking at the things that they could have done differently during the course of the game prior to that moment. But I think that the other thing France blew is the chance to be the good guy here. They could have taken their L graciously, and everyone, I think, would have been like, the U.S. cheated, the U.S. is the bad guys. And maybe a lot of people internationally, certainly on our Instagram, are still feeling that way. But overplaying their hand into, bringing it up over and over again, the tagging of people, making fake gold medals that say they won the game for real. And people are looking for reasons that the U.S. also did other stuff and then pointing to other calls that are actually the right call. somebody's talking about, Claire. I think it was there's a U.S. player who has the disc, and on the prior possession to that the famous stall call, fakes, and there's a foul on the mark, and I think they call contact, and then they have to call violation because the person didn't reset the stall count. And it's like, is that not also sort of cheating? Like, you're forcing the other team to take a stoppage where the rules are created to help them not take a stoppage. And people are saying like, oh, the U.S. is cheating here. And it's no, they're being fouled. So by doing all this stuff, you go from being the good guy back to being the bad guy, and you let the U.S. off the hook, which to me is a problem all of its own. And they could have just hit the reset. That was it. Chloe Valley could have made the second great catch. Obviously, we saw the slow mo. It was doable, but they didn't have to be in that situation. It was a bad call. Like, it was a bad stall, but not beyond the pale to me. It wasn't egregious. It went
It was
back,
a bad
which is
stall in the
essentially what
way
happens
that
on a bad stall call, is the disc goes back
exactly.
anyway, generally.
But what are we? Where are we defining what is bad? Because if the standard is that it has to be 10 seconds by a stopwatch, then every single stall count on planet Earth at the elite level is fast, and they should never be called stalls. So either you gotta do one of two things. Either we all agree that we're going to slow down our stall counts, or we agree tacitly, and I think that was agreed to tacitly by the French player who did not call a fast count because they accepted that the speed of the count was acceptable. You want to do something about it? Have the game advisors call a stall count. That's it.
Oh no, you can't. Don't bring the game advisors into this, Charlie, because that's not what the people want. And at least
I'm just telling
this
you.
level.
I'm just telling you. Like,
Look,
the
my
thing
stall
is,
count.
game advisors.
I have a good
Here's a true
10-second
fact.
stall count, and I don't stall anybody. So
Here's a true fact. The game advisors count the stalls to themselves. They do this. Like, they count it. I was talking to some of them. They hear each other counting stall, like, in their earpieces. They for sure knew that that was a fast count. If the French player had simply said, I think you counted too fast, I think the game advisor would have then said, I agree it was too fast of a count. And then, the U.S. player would have to decide, do I want to accept that and say we lose the game, or am I going to still bring it back? I just don't think, like, the standard can't be that if it's below 10 seconds by a clock, that it's a fast count and that it shouldn't be a stall, unless we are going to all change the entire, like, norms of how stalls are counted.
I will say, Charlie, and I would like to think that if I were in the U.S.'s shoes, I would have taken the call back on the appeal. I like to think that I would have.
Come on, Keith.
In this, I can't say that I would have. I'm not in that situation, but I like to think that I would. That, like, in the spirit of the game, like, they made an incredible play to potentially win the game. You know that you didn't get to the full stall count. If it were me, I like to think I would say, it sucks, but you got it. Like, I would at least want to confer with my team. Maybe the U.S. did that and they all agreed, but I would want to go to my team and be like, hey, I think the right thing to do here is to give them the win. And
I will say this. There was basically no celebration from the U.S. team after they won the game. I think that they knew it was a little bit of a unpleasant victory. I mean, it's one thing, you're getting booed, but, like, maybe they know, hey, we kind of got away with one here. I still don't think that this was, like, beyond the pale of a normal stall count and contested stall situation, but they were clearly not exactly like, oh, wow, we did it. So, interesting situation. I wonder how they feel when they go to bed at night.
I wonder what's going to happen the next time we see France and USA go at it with women match players on the field. Because I bet you a lot of these same people are going to be involved.
Do you think the similar question to, like, Belgium men's, like, can the French women win a big one against the U.S. at some point in the next, like, 5 years? I think yes.
They like the Belgians. They have a long window. They're young and super talented.
And some of their best players are still, like, under 20 years old.
Yeah, they're going to be really good. I mean, they are
I'm
really good
excited to
now.
see
They're
it.
going
But
to
that
continue to be really good.
we have the pieces for like an incredible rivalry now, right? Like the next time these
Yes.
two teams play in an international game, which I guess we won't get another like US international competition against until what 2028 for
When's
Worlds?
WUGC?
Because next year's
Is that
clubs,
yeah. Shouldn't 2 years from now be
27 you'll have
WUGC, right?
U24s again. No, it's
Mm.
2028
Oh, okay.
WGC.
All right.
So put it on your calendars. It's going to be epic. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're talking club awards, and we've got some awesome news about an upcoming charity streaming event. We'll tell you more right after this. Welcome back to Deep Look. Well, Keith, you have been putting together the pieces on an awesome upcoming event next week. Friday, December 12th, we are going to have a charity streamathon. Keith, I will let you tell everybody about what this is all about.
I'm super excited. We are still getting everything lined up, but we've got some awesome stuff coming your way. We are going to stream, yes, as Charlie said, Friday, December 12th, and Saturday, December 13th, because we're gonna run it up for 24 hours straight. Not Charlie and I. Fortunately, you won't be cursed to have to look at our faces for 24 hours straight. But Ultiworld will be live for 24 hours to raise money for the Stonewall Foundation, who helps benefit LGBTQ program and services. So we're super excited about it. Charlie and I will, of course, be live at some point. I think we're going to kick off things with our Deep Look live next week at noon. So Friday we'll start at noon and we'll run all the way through, but we're going to have some special guests. I think we're going to do a send it back of the World Games final between the US and Canada. We may have a little game show, cooking up some potential family feud amongst some elite teams there. We are going to have some gaming streams as well, a chance to play games with some folks from Multiworld and from the Ultimate community. So exciting things. Maybe a little Sin the Fields, appearance. Keep an eye out. So more details to come as we fully flesh out the schedule. We'll have trivia, classic games, some great stuff. So excited for it, and hope you'll join us and support the cause. It should be a good time.
Keith, I will reveal that if I can make everything happen from a technical standpoint, which I think I'm going to be able to figure out, I will be doing a live late night DJ set on Saturday, probably like Friday night, Saturday morning, like midnight-ish Eastern time, something like that. I don't know how long I'm going to go for, but play some tunes, and it's been a while since I've gotten the decks out, so I'm looking forward to trying that out. And
oh man,
so that'll be fun. I like Max's idea. Let's debut the Pac-Man dig footage.
Yeah. Do you have Richard right now? And let's see if we can get Pac-Man dig to go live during the stream. That'd be great. I think there's gonna be some film analysis. Rowan McDonald is talking with us about coming on for that. I may do some as well. So a lot of cool stuff. We're gonna be giving away free stuff as well. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
And we hope you'll join us for that for as much as you can, and donate to the Stonewall Foundation. Of course, we'll have all of the information about how to do that during the show. Ulti World will also be matching donations up to a certain amount, and more details to come once we get everything finalized. But Keith, thanks for taking the lead on this, and I can't wait to get it started. So Deep Look will be Friday at noon next week. We will not be in our normal Tuesday slot, so we'll kick things off on the charity streamathon on Friday.
Yeah, we're very, very excited. Very excited.
All right. Let's go to Club Awards. We already announced Players of the Year a couple weeks ago, but now we've got the full slate of Club Awards. Keith, where do you want to begin?
Why don't we start in the mixed division? And I'll give you the awards as they finalized. Offensive Player of the Year went to Tanner Johnson Go for male matching players. I actually should specify in the mixed division this year, we have split the awards by male matching and women matching players for Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Breakout Player of the Year. This is a new change for us. So each of those awards has a male matching and women matching winner and runner up as well. So Offensive Player of the Year for the male matching players goes to Tanner Johnson Go. Women matching players went to Sadie Jezierski. For Defensive Player of the Year, male matching player was Ben Lewis. The women matching player was Blaise Sevier. And Breakout Player of the Year, Lily Hobday for the women matching players, and Kyle Suflo for the male matching players. Coaches of the Year in the division were Ann Arbor Hybrid.
Yeah, Michael Dager Margosian. Yeah, awesome, awesome grouping. I mean, I'm not sure I exactly remember who was at the top of my ballots for all of these various selections, but I have like almost no complaints about any of the ultimate winners. Like, how good was Lily Hobday? I mean, what an awesome season for her and a breakout year. And the Suflo, both the Suflos are coming up fast. I feel like 2025 was a big year for them overall.
Yeah, there's a funny comment in our Discord about how it seems like it doesn't make sense. How could one Suflo be awarded something and not the other? Like they're literally the closest that two people could be to being the same player, more or less. But they in fact didn't even play on the same line, so they had different seasons. I swear they're two individuals. As far as I know, I did posit the idea: what if they're triplets? What if they're triplets and they're just rotating the jerseys around, and that's how it's like they're everywhere. Like they just keep it a secret. It would be genius. Oh my gosh, it'd be such a good scheme. The double exist Opody and the women matching players, Sage Jezierski and Jolie Krebs. I found that to be an interesting split.
But like not unreasonable, I don't think. I thought both had an awesome year, and the two of them really drove that team's offense all the way through to a deep nationals run. So congratulations to all the players who were recognized. Aaron Bartlett gonna keep Michigan relevant this year, I think. How far can they go with Aaron Bartlett? Could he win Player of the Year?
I mean, yeah, he could. I mean, they're gonna have to have a run. I think they'd at least make quarters. I think for him to have a shot.
I think probably
and even
probably
then,
semis.
That's gonna be tough.
Probably semis.
But he's playing great ultimate. Certainly had an awesome club season.
All right, Keith. Let's go to the women's division.
Right,
I can take us through the.
Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
Okay. Offensive Player of the Year, Gina Cartagena for Bent. Runner-ups, Kayla Helton for Flipside and Claire Trope for Scandal. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Manu Cardenas for Molly Brown, and how can you argue with that? I mean, she was easy call for me at the top of this list. Shayla Harris for Fury, the first runner-up, and Kelly Highland for Brute Squad, the second runner-up. Tremendous seasons for all three. In the breakout player of the year race, not a big surprise here, Keith. Nor Luloff for Riot wins the women's breakout player of the year. Taylor Conroy for Parcha is the first runner-up, and Elise Friedman for Brute Squad is your second runner-up. Coaches of the year in the women's division goes to Rob Brazil and Danny Clark for Boston Brute Squad. Duh.
Yeah, well, I mean, the new Nora Luloff, like, part bit in some ways. Like, it was so fun having this young player who people did not know 6 months ago come out and just play the way that she was playing. But also live up to the hype. Like, was really a talented contributor for Riot, and obviously has a bright future. But like, really, an actual breakout player. Someone people did not know, and has now arrived on the scene, and is going to be somebody I think people are going to be paying a lot of attention to moving forward. Obviously, her college recruitment will, of course, be a topic of much discussion, I'm sure.
Alert. I was just trying to search for a team in the USAU backend, and it is not showing me anything. Do you think this is because they reset the system, or is there changes afoot?
It's way more likely the former than the latter, but we can only hope that there are changes afoot.
I was trying to get the stats for Nora Luloff from Club Nationals, but I unfortunately cannot get them because it seems down right now. But yeah, I actually remember the first time that I saw Nora Luloff this season, and it was when she was walked over for an interview during the U.S. Open when she wasn't even playing for Riot, and everyone, like, I think Evan was commentating, and he gets on to talk back, and he's like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "I do not know who this is. I'm trying to find out as quickly as I can." And it was Nora Luloff. She then went on to go beast mode for the Seattle YCC team, and then obviously showed up at Pro Champs and cooked, and was so impressive that people were talking about her as possible top 25 player of the season. Epic.
Yeah.
Got the stats: 9 goals, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 2 turns. Not unbelievable, but that's solid stat line especially for a young player.
You also you mentioned Yina Cartagena as the offensive player of the year. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different players who got first place votes for that award. So
wow.
A lot of different opinions potentially.
I voted for
Yina
Kayla.
Cartagena, Kayla Heldon, who you voted for, Claire Trope, Dina Elamelik, and Arena Scazzieri. So an interesting mix that I feel like you don't usually see. I feel like offensive player of the year is generally a pretty straightforward vote. So I think it was surprising to me to see so many different players getting the shout here. I voted for Claire Trope, but I had a third on my ballot.
There you go. I think I had Helton, Trope, Cartagena as my top 3.
You had Helton, Cartagena, Colton as your top 3.
Okay. I lie. All right. I don't think there's much that needs to be said about coach of the year. I mean, if you can find a way to win a national championship defeating the undefeated Fury, you are going to get some serious credit, and they get that.
And
I
not
don't
only
like
that, but
always giving the best, the coaches that win the Coach of the Year award, but like legitimately, how could you vote for anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, some people found a way to, but to me, their performance in the final, which clearly spoke of strong game planning, also their ability to navigate a really challenging season. I mean, an ever-shifting roster, both the World Games and a consistent string of injuries, really changed this roster. They did it all without Carolyn Tornquist, Caitlin Lee, who are like 2 of their top players. Like that's a big difference, and they navigated it really well. That all speaks to strong coaching to me.
Yep. All right, Keith. Men's division, take us through our winners.
All right, in the men's division, offensive player of the year. This to me, it was a bit more like most offensive players of the years, painfully obvious. But are you only unanimous, Opody, I believe. Mac Hecht from Revolver. Christian Boxley, the runner-up there, the first runner-up there. Defensive player of the year, Daniel Lee from Rhino Slam. Shout out Dylan Freechild. says we don't know who Daniel Lee is. I promise we do. Michael Ling, the runner up there. And in the breakout player of the year, Elliot Hawkins takes down the award. William Wettengel, the runner up there.
Honestly, it's kind of crazy that Wettengel didn't win, but that shows you just how crazy Hawkins was this year. I'm like not quite sure how good Hawkins could be. Like, I think we need to be prepared for him to have an insane college season and like suddenly be somebody we're talking about all the time.
Yeah, the same rinse and repeat what I said about Raekwon Atkins earlier. I mean, Elliot Hawkins was like trying to fight for rookie of the year space last year with that stacked rookie class. And now you're like starting to wonder, like, is there going to be a chance he's the best player on Mama Bird this year? He looks really good. He was fantastic for Bravo. Suddenly the ceiling looks really high.
He looked fantastic at CCC just a month ago.
Yep. Driving the offense for them after being like core D-line guy for them last year. Now it looks like he's going to get a much bigger offensive role. Very, very interesting award, though. Breakout player of the year. I did not, which obviously is Malik Anderson and Bruce over at Revolver.
Yeah, Adrian King. Does he go by Bruce?
Bruce is his nickname. Yes, Bruce is his nickname.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. Great knowledge. Again, you don't always want to give it to the best, the team that wins the nationals, but like Revolver more or less went undefeated this year. I mean, I know they lost a game, but they were missing some players and it was a weird US Open this year. And I just think like their ability to stay like clearly ahead of the pack the entire season really speaks to how well this team was put together and how like solidified roles were. Really impressive, especially with everybody, with a lot of other really good teams were capable of potentially knocking them off, unable to do so. So credit to those two.
Yeah, second straight year that they've won the award. And Maka, shout out in the chat. This team just felt like they had it all on the sidelines. They had a great strategy offensively and defensively. It's a big part of why their lines not only looked really consistent and solid, but also like they had a clear identity. Those are markers of good coaching to me, but also the vibes on the team were really high. They seemed like they had a great culture. And I know that was in part being driven by the coaching staff. Malika now with 2 Coach of the Year awards and a runner up. So keep an eye on this. Maybe another Revolver coach that could be Hall of Famer. I don't know. Keep an eye on that.
Listen to this. I'm going to admit something. When Malika was named head coach, or I don't know, head coach. It's always very vague to me whether people are head coaches or like what level of coach they are, right? So she was like the trainer for the team. This is years ago now. And then she became the coach, and I was like, huh. Like that seems a little weird. Like I don't know if that's really going to work. Like you're taking the trainer and you're making them the coach. Like obviously it must be a good culture fit, but probably not going to be able to hang in there from like actual X's and O's and coaching standpoint. And I've just been so wrong about that. I'll admit, and I would love to talk to Malika about this more. And I know she's listening right now, so maybe she can put something in the chat about this. But to me, this is just like Malika has put in an unbelievable amount of work to become a top level elite coach and then win this award and, be in this award podium multiple times. To me, it's just an awesome story because it's not like somebody who was grinding at D3 college and then D1 college, and then they started coaching at the, juniors USA national team and then up. Like it didn't feel like that same kind of trajectory. But now Malika is like doing international coaching for Columbia and is coaching and winning championships in the men's division of USAU. So pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, I remember also being like, what? It's a weird change. But it makes for great cinema. I mean, Charlie, if you want to fund the Monica Anderson story, we can go ahead and get somebody casting her, and we'll get the biopic ready to go, because it is a pretty wild story. But a great success story. Maybe Monica, I'll hit you up live sideline talk during the
Hey, that's a great idea.
dirty live stream.
That's a great idea. Malika said it was indeed weird. So at least we weren't alone in feeling that way. All right. What else we got here? I think maybe we just got mailbag question of the week. So let's go to it. Keith, what is our mailbag question of the week?
So, Charlie, we actually have an interesting one. Often we kind of give our opinions on things, but here we actually have a bit of facts and a question I hear a lot about. So we got a mailbag question of the week. How does qualification work for the World Games? Do the results from WBUC affect qualification? Charlie, you're in a great position to help answer. How does World Games qualification work? How do you get in?
All right. I'm going to the actual notes because it can be a bit complicated. So, the most recent World Championship event is the qualifying event for the World Games. So, the final placement of the team earns you amount of points. First place gets 100 points. Second place gets 95. And then it kind of slowly scales down from there. And you accumulate points across all of the divisions. And you sum them up. And then whichever countries did the best qualifies. So it's 7 teams plus the host. Sometimes the host is an auto-qualifying team. Would have qualified anyway, like the United States when we hosted in Birmingham back in 2022. So then that kind of opens up 7 spots instead of, or I guess 8 spots instead of 7 is the way to think about it. Then there is like a tiebreaker with the World Ultimate Ranking, but that probably never comes into play. And so beach results do feed into the World Ultimate Ranking in a small way, but it's not like if you do great at beach, then you get to go to the World Games. It really comes down to sending good teams in all 3 divisions at the World Ultimate Championships, the next of which will be held in 2028. And then that will qualify teams for the 2029 World Games, which are in Germany, I believe.
Did the World Beach, if the World Beach was the most recent event, could it count, or does it have to be a sevens format?
I think it basically has to specifically be WUC, like the World Championships.
Got it. So so WBC could play a small factor, but likely does not. But the system rewards you for having highly performing teams in opens, women's, and mixed. It's a big demerit to your team's total score to not be able to field a team in one of those. Because if you place even as low as 60, you could still accrue 25 points for your World Cup points. So the difference between 25 and 0 is pretty significant on this scale. It's pretty much impossible to have a good team in one of the 3 divisions and qualify, right?
I think it's literally impossible, because if you look at the teams from the last cycle, and here, let me share my screen. It's actually a perfect opportunity to share my screen. Hang on. Let me share this. All right, I'll zoom in. So this is the qualifiers from last cycle. Can you see this, Keith?
Yes.
Shout out to Kexo Dosen Dieb on Reddit. You can see that literally all the way down to 20 are teams represented in all 3 categories, because if you finish 25th, you still get 60 something points. So you simply have to send teams in all 3 divisions to have a prayer. And there's the scoring rubric. So if you finish in 40th place, you get 45 points. So taking a 0 in a category is basically, there's no hope.
Yeah, I mean,
people have been talking about Belgium.
Down all the way, if you had 200 points, which is what you would, if you finish first in 2 of the 3 divisions and it took a 0 in the other one, you still would not make it on this page. You wouldn't make it in the top 20. So you have to at least be fielding a team in all 3 divisions and probably having all 3 do well.
I was very exciting, this battle for the last spot, Germany GB. I mean, there were games that were basically winning in for countries into the World Games, like in the mixed division at last World Cycle. Now, I think there's a case to be made, I will say, for not having the entire system be based exclusively on performance at World Ultimate Championships, because what this does, for better or worse, is reward depth countries. It rewards countries that have enough players, enough good Ultimate players to send good teams across all 3 divisions. But what if, right? What if Belgium got to go, right? They have a little bit of a weaker scene on the women's side and on the mixed side. But if they got to go, they only have to take 7 players. Like, they only need 7 women. So, depth, it's like you're rewarding depth for a tournament that doesn't require depth. So it's kind of a weird thing, but I don't really know what system would make more sense, because almost any ranking system you use is going to be rewarding teams that are winning, and generally teams that are winning are deep. So, I think in some ways it's like a good incentive for Belgium, for instance. Like, let's say they want to play World Games 2029. All right, well, develop your women's program. Like, if you want to go, that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, and as I believe it was Nathan Kalakovic earlier in the chat who said that the Belgian women's program is up and coming. So there's a shot that that's going to develop in time for them to make it into this conversation. But I think that is the intent here, is that you need to develop across depth. You need to grow your community so that you can successfully get to the point where those top players can be on that stage. And maybe I think that might be a feature, not a bug. Now, if you did want to come up with a system that was a little less focused on the depth across all 3 divisions, you could do something like weighting your highest score, your middle score, and your third score. So like you get 1.5 for your highest score, so your best team can score you more points.
Sure,
you could do a system
or
like
simply making the benefit for winning a bigger deal. Like, the differential between first and fourth is only 13 points. Like, you could steepen this curve quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that would generate more benefit to the teams that have the strongest programs that are winning, right? That are finishing on the podium. Which in some ways you want, right? Because what you don't necessarily want is like a deep country that doesn't have top end talent. Like, you really want countries that can send super explosive teams. But I don't know that, like, who are you really replacing from this past cycle?
Yeah, exactly. And we ended up with good teams as is. I think that the other thing you run into is, like, do you really want some team that has 8 really good players to make it to the World Games? They have,
right.
Let's be honest. The most likely scenario, right, is that you have a bunch of really good no-matching players in the open division who are performing well. Like, do you really want that to be who you're sending to the World Games? And then they come out and they play a bunch of dude ball. Like, I don't think that's really what's best. So I'm fine with where we're at.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's worth considering whether you want to change the weighting slightly, but at the end of the day, the countries that make it are pretty much the countries that you want to see there. So it's not like, are we over engineering a solution to a problem that doesn't exist? All right, that's going to do it for the show. Keith, great to be back. Next week, remember, we will be live on Friday at noon Eastern to kick off our charity streamathon. So we hope you join us for that 24-hour straight live stream. Schedule coming soon. We'll have some surprises. We'll have some giveaways. We hope you will join us in donating to the Stonewall Foundation. So we'll see you next week. And subscribers, stay tuned for our Out the Back segment live in the Discord coming up in just a bit.